Hi, so welcome everyone to our Monday evening Yin class. We'll start lying down. So you can come to lie on your back if you like. You could have knees bent, soles of the feet on the mat, feet a little bit wider than the hips so that the knees can rest together. Or maybe something under the knees or the legs long. Whatever feels good for the body just to rest. And you might have the hands away from the body, palms up, so you have a little bit of opening through the chest and the shoulders, or you might have the hands on the belly or the heart. And as ever, just take some longer, deeper breaths as a way of signaling to your body that this is your time. It's signaling to your body to begin to rest and let go of the day. So hey Alison and Liz just joining. So we're just lying down when you're ready. And then just allow your breath to return to a natural rhythm where there's nothing you need to actually do. You can just begin to let go of the day and release into just being here. And let your awareness come down into the feet and the toes. Feel into the feet and the toes. And then scan your awareness from the toes and the feet all the way up the legs. Feeling the legs, the knees, into the hips and the pelvis. And then from the pelvis moving into the belly and the lower back, the chest and the upper back, the shoulders and the shoulder blades, all the way down the arms into the hands, and into the neck and the head and the face. So scanning back down from the crown of the head all the way through the face, the head, the neck, back into the shoulders, the arms, the hands, the chest, the upper back, the belly, the lower back, into the pelvis and the hips and all the way down the legs and into the feet. And you could either do that a couple more times with your awareness or just be directed to places in the body where there are sensations. Don't need to be strong sensations, but just noticing when you feel into the body, what is there? And can your awareness stay with the body, or does it take you away? Does the mind start to come in with thinking and planning, doing even? And just notice. And just gently bring your awareness back to sensations. And whatever you find there in the body, see if you can have an allowing, letting be, an acceptance, without needing to judge or create stories around, without needing to change or push away. So we're starting lying down. If you're just joining, you can lie down on your back, resting. So this week we're exploring acceptance in place of blame. And Eckhart Tolle says, whatever the present moment contains, accept it as if you had chosen it yourself. Always work with it, not against it, and this will miraculously change your life. So acceptance is a powerful practice that allows us to see things clearly as they really are, beyond what the mind makes up. So quite often the mind will have stories, or there's a kind of filter on the mind. And acceptance allows us to be in the present moment, without judgment, without needing to change. So as we move through our practice, we'll just explore perhaps how blame shows up for us, and we'll invite in a sense of acceptance towards ourselves, our relationships, and our lives. So take another couple of deeper breaths here. Feel the belly and the chest rise as you inhale. Maybe there's a long, soft exhalation through the mouth. And then the next time that you inhale, draw the knees in. Have a little rock side to side. And then we're going to bring the soles of the feet together, bring the feet back onto the mat and the knees wide. So if you have a couple of pillows, I didn't say to have any props, did I, at the beginning? A couple of pillows would be good, a blanket, cushion, but you might want to have a couple of pillow either side of the legs, either side of the thighs, so that you can rest fully. Or you could see if moving the feet away from the pelvis lessens the sensation in the thighs. So check in with that and really find a place where you can settle. And the hands can be where they most comfortably settle. Maybe cactus arms. I quite like cactus arms when I'm in this one. So elbows in line with the shoulders. Maybe the hands out to the side or on the body. So really just find a place where you can fully settle in. So when we look at blame offers us a kind of a way of understanding a particular person or a situation or a challenge in our life. And basically kind of blame helps to make sense of our world. And it might even offer us the illusion of control. Because really we're not in control of anything. The only thing we're in control of is how we think and how we feel and how we show up in the world. And we may blame ourselves for not maybe getting the job or getting the promotion. We might blame others for not treating us well, and we might blame the world for our unhappiness. So if you're just joining there, we're just lying down. We've got the soles of the feet together and the knees wide. So you can come to lie on your back, soles of the feet together, knees wide. So to maybe help you along with exploring your own blaming, I'll share with you some of mine. So my blaming habits include blaming my husband when I feel tired, maybe when I'm busy and overwhelmed and I feel he's not doing enough to help around the house, even though when I look at it, I know he's doing his fair share. I blame myself when I've had a bad night's sleep and I'm feeling unmotivated and don't want to do anything. And I might even blame the wind when I'm feeling irritable. So just with a really warm, open heart, just see who or what you like to blame when you're feeling challenged and when life feels hard. Just notice what pops up. You'll probably be familiar with the blaming of stubbing your toe on something that's been left in the middle of the room. Maybe there are other things. So take a couple of deeper breaths now into that awareness of blaming, and remembering that these habitual patterns of blaming are deeply rooted within the mind. They might be very old. So be kind, be gentle with yourself, soften around the edges, and this is what we're going to work with this evening. So reaching down to the knees, draw the knees back in together and then in towards the chest. Have a little rock side to side, or you can just simply pause. You might interlace the fingers around the knees and just pause there. Or you might create circles. So just see what you need. As ever, with our yin postures, we're really taking our practice to where feels right for this moment, knowing it might be different to how you were when you came to your mat last. And then we're going to come back up. So you can roll over to one side, or you could roll on the length of the spine to come all the way up. I'm going to come to sit. So just into a cross-legged, maybe seated on something if it's useful to lift the pelvis. And then take an inhale and reach the hands up to the top. And as you exhale, bring the left elbow over the right. So you're either coming into your eagle arms or take the shoulders. So feel which is right. And if you take the eagle arms, just allow either way, allow the shoulders to move slightly away from the head. And just make sure that it's not too much into the shoulders or even into the upper arms or into the wrists. So remember that taking the opposite shoulders is just as good here. It's that kind of crossing and that opening through the back of the body. So you can either just stay here, or you could take an inhale, and as you exhale, fold from the hips and begin to come forward. And obviously you want a place where you can rest into. So you might find that the elbows and the forearms can come down onto the mat quite happily. Or you might find that you need to grab your pillows in front of you, or maybe your bolster if you have one, so that the forearms can rest. Or maybe the elbows can rest if you're taking shoulders. And equally, you might not be that far folded forward, and that's fine as well. But it's that drawing across the shoulders that we're looking for. And let yourself soften in. So when blame takes over our minds and our hearts, we can end up feeling contracted, closed off, maybe even misunderstood. But perhaps more than this, blame it takes away the responsibility and focus away from us. So blame is kind of a protection from examining our own actions and our own lives. And over time, if we don't notice it and allow it to come to the surface and be aware of it, it can kind of lead to this kind of disconnect and this rumbling inside. So if you kind of look at my example of like when I'm feeling busy and tired and overwhelmed, if I let that blame feel real and I don't widen my perspective to actually see what's really going on, I might then speak to my husband in a critical tone. Or I might not even verbalize that blame, but then between us there will kind of be this underlying issue. Maybe him feeling judged, maybe me feeling misunderstood, and it can easily kind of end up in a separation and a contraction between us. And given that habits are reinforced, this blame can then lead to other things. So you might even kind of smile at this as you kind of recognize some of this in your own relationships or in your own life. And really what I've noticed is that when I bring awareness around it, I can clearly see that it's me, the responsibility sits with me. So I'm tired and overwhelmed because I've taken on too much. He's done his fair share of things around the house, but what I could do is actually ask him for more help. You know, it's as simple as that. But often we don't do it because we're not seeing these habitual patterns. So take another deep breath here. And as you exhale, draw the belly in and come back up. Release the arms, release the legs, and as ever, your choice whether you just kind of pause or bring the hands behind, lift the heart, move the knees side to side. And just allow that to release. And then when you're ready to do the other side, cross the ankle the other way. It'll probably be the way that feels strange. You'll have a tendency to go one way. I know I do. This way feels strange. And then inhale, reach the hands up. And then exhale, bring the right elbow over the left. And then your eagle arms, or taking the shoulders on that side. And remember, you can just stay here. You know, you don't have to fold forward if it doesn't feel right for the body. And if you do want to take an inhale, find a little bit of length through the spine, out through the crown of the head. And as you exhale, soften in. And do make sure that you can release. Obviously, you probably couldn't just stay mid position for very long. So do find somewhere that you can rest down. And use your exhalation to soften into the body, to soften down into the earth. And as you explore this, remembering about compassion, remembering about kindness towards yourself. And I like to think of this like I have an emotional edge in the same way that we have a physical edge. So if anything gets too close to a nerve and it just doesn't feel right for you, you can back away in the same way that you would in a physical edge. But if you feel ready to explore it a bit more and things are kind of coming up, you go, oh yeah, I do that. Just be kind to that. You know that that's been there a long time. It's been reinforced over and over and over by things that have happened. See if you can have a little bit of allowing. And almost like you step back and you have that widening lens to gain that perspective and watch it from a distance. And then take another deep inhale. And as you exhale, slowly come back up and release. And as ever, a little bit of movement or just pausing and being with whatever you feel is releasing or moving within the body. Sensations shifting perhaps. And then when you're ready, we're going to come over into tabletop. If it feels nice, you could have a couple of rounds of cat-cow or circling through the hips. Maybe moving through the head and neck a little. Anything that just feels like you're just releasing any tightness. And then we're going to tuck the toes, a very brief, soft down dog. You're welcome to walk out through the legs a little if you'd like to. And then we'll walk the feet towards the hands. Or the hands to the feet, whatever makes sense. And then we're coming into a forward fold. So hip distance between the feet, spread the toes, plant the feet down into the earth, feel grounded there. And you can either take opposite elbows or bring the elbows onto the knees, or even just have the hands and the arms long. But wherever you go with that, let go of the head, let go of the jaw. Create that yin quality across the body. And remember about your edge. So sometimes you can get here and think, oh, this is okay, but remember you're going to go deeper into this. I find this is pretty intense pose, so you have to kind of back away from your edge a little, knowing that you'll kind of sink into it as you settle here. Remember, we don't want pain. We might want sensations in the body, and they might even be strong sensations, but they don't have to be. It's kind of really up to us where we take that and how far we go. What I have noticed with my own blaming habits is, if instead when I feel busy I notice that I'm feeling overwhelmed, I take a deep breath into it, I allow my body to soften, and then mind becomes a little bit quieter, and I'm able to see the blame for what it is. It's just an habitual reaction to a particular situation. So remembering that part, it's habit. And then what if I was to step back and be curious about my experience and how it feels in the body and what thoughts go through my mind? And I might even notice that it's because I'm stressed and overwhelmed, and it's because I've taken on too much that I'm feeling in this way, and then I'm going into this habitual reaction of blaming. So this is awareness. This is bringing awareness to thoughts and our inner experience, and then how we respond to things. And remembering the kindness part, so important. So take another deep breath here. And as you exhale, release the hands towards the earth. Bend into the knees a little, and we're going to step back with the left leg. Bring the knee down. And at this point, if you do have bricks, I don't think many of you do, but you could use that to bring the hands onto bricks. You could also bring the hands up onto the knee and be here. You could use your bolster, if you have one, underneath that right knee, quite close to the back of the ankle, and maybe the hands on the bolster. Or maybe it feels okay for you to actually bring the hands down either side of the foot or inside. So play with that. See where would be right for your hips and inner groin area. And again, know that this is quite strong. So if you've got your bolster underneath the leg, you can bring the hands onto the bolster. See if that works. If it doesn't work, you could maybe bring the bolster to the back leg so that it softens the knee. And kind of lifts the knee ever so slightly, and maybe lifts through that left thigh a little. But either way, find a little bit of softness. Softening through the neck and the shoulders. Softening across the jaw. Softening into the chest and the belly. And perhaps using the breath and using the exhalation in particular if this is quite intense. And really feel that you can send the breath into that area that's opening and perhaps releasing. And then take another inhale. Exhale, release the hands to the earth. Step back with the right leg. Maybe into child's pose, or if you feel that actually movement would be better, you might lengthen one leg, lengthen the other, or you might do a down dog. And then when you're ready, inhaling to come back to your tabletop, and then your down dog. Brief little soft down dog, and then walk the feet to the hands. Into your forward fold again. So if you took opposite elbows last time, take the elbows the opposite way, so the opposite hand are in the front. And maybe you just bend into the knees this time and rest the elbows onto the knees. Or maybe the arms are long as you open up. Maybe the back of the body feels a bit more open now. So whichever way, just soften the head, the neck, the jaw. Feel that you could breathe deeply into the back of the body. And release any tightness that might be there. So depending on what kind of blaming habits that we might become aware of, it's important to bring that self-compassion, and then maybe a commitment to reassess how many things are going on in your life. Is it possible to drop things? Is it possible to rearrange things or ask for help? Because I know for me, I noticed with my habitual blaming, it was all when life felt hard, when there were stresses. So if there's a little bit more ease in life, maybe those blaming habits will begin to dissolve. But with awareness comes choices. And it prevents us from kind of having that knee-jerk reaction to things. And that's kind of where acceptance comes in, where we learn to identify our habits of blame, to let them go, and to invite in a sense of acceptance for ourselves, for others, and our life as it is right now. Take another deep inhale here. And as you exhale, release the hands to the earth, bend into the knees a little, and step back with the right leg. Moving into your dragon on that side, So lots of options with the hands. Hands might stay either side of the foot, might come onto the knee. You might use your bolster, your props, the hands onto the bolster, hands on the inside. Find a place that just makes sense for your body. And then see if you can settle in and have an allowing of what you're experiencing here. It's one of the wonderful qualities of Yin. I think it teaches us to allow and accept. With whatever comes up, sometimes they are very strong sensations. See if you can just allow. And create a little bit of softness. And then take another inhale. As you exhale, release the hands to the earth if they're not there already, stepping back. And as ever, your child's pose, maybe some movement. And then when you're ready, releasing forward, come to sit again. And we're going to bring that right leg out to the side and have the sole of the left in towards the thigh. And if you do have a bolster or a pillow, just have that nearby just in case it's useful for when you come down. We're going to fold over that right leg. So you can bring the hands beside the hips, take an inhale to find length. And as you exhale, twist over to that right side. So you might even draw the belly over. And then as you inhale, lift and lengthen again. Press through the heel a little. And as you exhale, begin to fold over that leg. And remembering about your edge. So you may well be here. And if you have a bolster or something that you can rest the head on, then that might be useful. Or you might be further folded forward. But either way, find that place to rest into. You can let go of the leg when you do get to that point. And see if you can allow that left hip and side body just to soften down into the earth. So you may well feel that it's a stretch across the back of that right leg, but also into the left side of the back. And a stretch across there. But remember, no pain, not going too far. Go to a place where you can soften. And you might just check in with the arms, make sure you're not kind of pulling yourself down or striving to go further. There's a bend in the elbows and there's a softness into the hands and wrists. And acceptance in the concept of mindfulness is not a kind of passive acceptance of things that we might feel that are intolerable. It's not giving up. It's not resigning ourselves to what's going on. And it's not about detachment. It's not about not feeling what is there. It's the word is the same root as the words capture and perception. So it means kind of to receive, to take hold of something, to understand something. And it allows us to kind of embrace the true deep understanding of how things really are and not how the mind thinks they are. So you might see it like a pause, a letting be, a clear seeing. So you can be aware of all the difficulties and the nuances and how it feels within. And then from that place, be able to respond more skillfully. So it's as if it gives you time and space to do that. So just one more minute here and see if you can just bring a little bit more softness into the body. Not necessarily going deeper, but just a releasing and a letting go. So you're not holding on to the legs or the hip. You're not holding the shoulders or the belly. Take another couple of deep breaths. And when you feel ready, slowly roll back up. Helping the knees to bend. And you might just pause, you might lengthen the legs. Just check in what would feel like the right thing to do. You might give the legs a little massage, a rub. Or you might just simply pause. And when you feel ready to do the other side, you can bring that left leg out to the side, right sole of the foot in. Tuck away with the pelvis. Inhale to lift the chest, press through the heel on that left leg. And as you exhale, begin to turn towards the long leg. Inhale, lifting and lengthening. And then exhaling, finding your way to settle in on that side. Maybe using props. But finding a softness. And just seeing if you can let go of the foot and the toes. And release the muscles all the way along that left leg. And let the hip on the right just release, soften towards the earth, and allow that stretch to happen along the side body or the back of the body. See if you can allow the belly to soften. slight broadening across the shoulders as you perhaps breathe a little bit deeper into the shoulders. And there's a release across the jaw and the neck. And even a softness into the eyes. Whole body releasing here. And just see for the next minute or so here, just being in that releasing and letting go. And taking some longer, deeper breaths. Slowly making your way back up. Pausing, moving. Taking your time, whatever you do. And then we're going to create our supported back bend. So if you have a bolster, you could use that. If you don't, use a couple of pillows. So stacking the pillows, a little bit of a step between each thing that you pop on top. So I quite like to bring a couple of blankets. So one little step, two, and then something for the head as well. And then drawing them in nice and close to the pelvis, and then rolling over and softening in. Then you might just allow the hands to be away from the body, palms up, and you might allow the feet to be wider than the hips and the knees touching, or you might bring the soles of the feet together, knees wide, or even the legs long. So check in and feel what would be right. And do make sure that this is okay for the back of the body. This is not too deep a back bend. If you're using your pillows, you can always remove one. And if you're using bolster, you can always lift the bolster, prop it onto something. And then really let yourself settle in. And see if you can just welcome all the parts of you here. welcome them into this place where you can just be. So you might welcome in your tired self, your self that sometimes gets caught up in cycles of blame or judgment, or maybe criticism, yourself who has felt stressed or overwhelmed, and maybe you can also welcome in that self that desires freedom away from habitual or limiting thoughts. That self that longs for peace and contentment and ease. And just offering all these parts of you a gentleness, a friendliness, a sense of peace or acceptance. Kind of knowing that you're all welcome here, all parts of you. And just let your awareness rest with the breath, the rising and falling of the chest. Just that simple flow of air. And how it's possible to accept each breath just as it is. Nothing you need to do or change or get involved in. You can just accept each and every breath as it is. And then beginning to deepen your breath. Maybe there's even a little sigh out through the mouth. And when you feel ready, begin to move, but know that there's no rush. You might roll off of your props. We'll gradually and slowly come into a child's pose. That's like a counter to that back bend, and if you're using props you can have knees wide. You can do it with the pillows as well if you don't have a bolster. But take your time to get there and let one cheek settle down. And you might allow the palms to face upwards and the elbows to bend, so again there's a release. Really let the belly and the chest rest onto the props. And if you have one cheek on your prop, just bring the other cheek down just so you can release the other side of the neck. And then taking some deeper breaths. And slowly, when you're ready, begin to move. And we're going to come down onto our backs, but if you feel that you want any movement before you get there, then do take that. Maybe it's a tabletop cat-cow, down dog, just simply coming onto your back. And then when you get onto your back, you're welcome to just go straight to Shavasana, as some of you already have. That's fine. Or you could draw the knees in and either pause or reach between the legs to take the ankles. Don't feel like you need to there. Just for a few breaths and letting the shoulders soften into the earth. Letting the back of the body lengthen. Neck releasing, jaw releasing. And then when you're ready, you can release into your Shavasana if you're not there already. Now a complete allowing. And isn't that what our Shavasana is really about? Just accepting the body here on the ground just as it is. Allowing all the sensations just to come and go. Allowing the thoughts to come and go. And in that allowing, we might notice that things are forever shifting and changing. Nothing stays the same. So this being human is a guest house. Every morning a new arrival. A joy, a depression, a meanness. Some momentary awareness comes as an unexpected visitor. Welcome and entertain them all, even if they are a crowd of sorrows, who violently sweep your house empty of its furniture. Still, treat each guest honourably. He may be clearing you out for some new delight. The dark thought, the shame, the malice. Meet them at the door laughing and invite them in. Be grateful for whoever comes, because each has been sent as a guide from beyond. Taking some longer, deeper breaths now. Gradually bringing movement, fingers, toes. Draw the knees in. slowly and gently come back. Coming to sit for a moment. If you're very comfortable where you are, you can stay there. But either way, you might just set the intention, if any of this has resonated with you, just over the next week. Just kind of watching for any blaming habits that might be there. And what we find is by bringing them to the surface and shining a light on them is often enough to allow and to accept and then ultimately change. But as ever, remembering kindness and compassion for yourself. And bringing the hands to prayer. And we'll close with one Om. Take a deep breath in. Om. So thank you for your practice. Namaste.